overly reactive to the market trends versus the sticking to the plan. So what is the cost that involved in if you are reacting to the market versus you are sticking to the plan? And
One
maybe
line,
you can
one line
share some your
statement.
experience
Wow.
that whether you are taking the decision based on the market sentiment or taking the decision based on your strategy. So if you can share something on that, and then we can, I think, close it.
So, the question out here is you have your plan, you have your market volatility. You can't be overreactive.
Sure.
You have to understand what's happening across the market and you have to remain agile. I think that's what we've been talking about. It's like, it's not like the plans are, we're now talking about the rolling plans and things like it. You really have to be adaptive. You have to be proactive and keep moving the way situations are happening while making sure that, like what exactly is your purpose. And, the larger things you cannot ignore, but not overreactive. You really have to see, but it's not that you become complacent. You're not even aware what's happening. And then when the things are happening, you become too reactive. I'm just talking about the cases of Nokia and the Kodak. Like, you just can't be out of the market. You need to remain out in the market, explore the opportunities. Sometimes opportunities become your main strategy. So you have to be very, very proactive when you are dealing with the entire market and while making sure that your strategies are in.
For a large company, it is still easier to manage the cost because even if you start like a Tata Group, so they can really go through the COVID times because in their lifespan, 10 such incidents has happened.
Yeah.
But when you're a smaller company or a mid-sized company, this kind of volatility really affects. So like we're talking about letdown, because obviously Tata Group will probably not throw out people. But but in a startup, you've got no other option if the next round is not happening, right? So the way to look at is that, are you really proactively doing it so that you don't reach that point quicker? Yeah. See, it is always, I believe, in career, if I look back, it is about holding that slightly longer than what is required. So most of the times you get desperate and you want to take something so that you'll save. So rather than taking a very quick decision, if you proactively slow down and, just hold on for slightly longer, most probably will take care of the situation better. I'm just saying in a layman term, rather than, going into too much into costing.
So for big companies, it doesn't matter.
No, they can really manage that,
I think I would just sum it up as you assess your risk and
Yeah.
take a call because the risk-taking ability is also varies, right? A small firm has a smaller risk-taking ability compared to a larger firm. So you assess your risk and you take a call whether you want to still get in the market or you want to stick to your strategy. I mean, it's not a market nor a strategy. It's more a risk assessment whether the organization will survive by getting into the market.
Yeah.
And taking the risk.
So it's very important. There are two aspects: what you are doing and how you are doing. This combination of what and how is create this toxicity. But if your value is embedded in your strategy, you will always be guided by the right what and right how. Otherwise, accident is bound to happen. Irrespective of the fact whether you are big, small, or your risk appetite. You have to guided by the values which are embedded in the strategy. Nobody will go actually wrong. If you set aside the values and everything is right.
Yeah.
I would say one should not be very immediately reactive. Rather strategize to respond to the challenges if one is facing after whatever is happening in the interim. And it is very important that when you react quite quickly, you cannot do the undo if things have really gone wrong after even what you probably have proposed because you would have not given enough thought on that. Right. So it's to really make it a very wise planning, one has to really take everybody along. And that's the reason why we were raising a lot of this discussion of hiring, because these people have probably not thought well in terms of how the continuation plan can happen. It's more on the reactive. So it really doesn't help anybody, and no organization can really grow if one is only reacting rather than strategizing to respond eventually in the long term to survive themselves.
I would say there is no point in reacting immediately, right? I mean, there are multiple ways you can control things. So a lot of times when the market is going down, we also try to control the cost.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the manpower cost. Because there are a lot of other marketing costs, travel cost. I mean, I now in my company, I cut down the travel. I said, you will travel only if the client is paid. Right? It's not going to make much difference in the top line or the bottom line. But you're just sending a message saying that, okay, the market is getting tight. Don't waste money unnecessarily. But in the today's scenario of valuation game, you are actually burning somebody else's money.
Yeah.
That is where the issues, I mean, you can list down so many unicorns which is just completely gone down the track, because to an extent they were not burning their money. The founders have made their money, but all those people who invested has gone down the track because we said that we will continue the way it is. Well, like for instance, if you just do a Zepto is burning almost like 15 crores a day on a daily basis for giving this 100 rupee cashback. I mean, you will know this 100 rupee cashback and these kind of things. They're still pumping in money. And most of the unicorn that we are talking about, none of them are making money also.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you start from Flipkart onwards.
It is consumers who evolve.
Yeah.
Some of these consumer evaluations are latent needs and some of these consumer needs are called out. Brands are permanent. You have seen many brands that has been everlasting, and these brands have been everlasting only because they have been make their evolution in line with the consumer journeys. So therefore, your strategy is not about a 1 year, 3 months or 5 year. It's about understanding your consumer and how you are evolving to it. And e-commerce needs to work probably with a 1 year strategy. Somebody who's working on a nuclear mission needs to work on a 5 year strategy.
Yeah.
So therefore, we need to look at who's your consumer. How is the consumer pace of evolution that you're looking at it, and how are you organizing yourself to have a strategy on this, rather than looking at should I have a 3 year or 5 year? The answer for that is not with what we want to do. It's what the consumer is going to ask from you.